I see the internet as a drug to which I've been addicted. And although I've been connected, I'm more anxious and conflicted in the ways that I view people when my social interactions are often based on liking things and meaningless distractions. And like almost every other drug, of course, it has its uses. But it also has its failings, its misgivings and abuses, and I can't speak for everyone, but I do know that I'm prone to wasting too much time these days just scrolling through my phone. And I need the space to think and grow, to learn and to be human, without feeling like I'm just another product to consume and to be traded in some marketplace of comments, likes and shares, and persuaded to stay on it and embrace it. But what scares me is the infancy of it all. The constant sense of urgency and how easily we fall for the allure and the sureness of machines, for the greater sense of pureness, even if it often means that we sacrifice ourselves and each other to its cause for the sake of generating some virtual applause, or to be loved or be despised, or to be angered, shocked or awed, but to be somehow idolized inside this temple to a God that we worship as disciples who nail ourselves upon its cross for the age of the entitled in this game of pitch and toss. And lately I've been thinking about this bold and brave new world, and the dual nature of existence to which we've all been hurled headlong and on course towards a social intransigence where the masses are all forced to bear the flag of their allegiance and declare their class and creed just by the colours that they wear, while the masters come to feed upon our voluntary air that we breathe into the ether as the essence of our soul, to relinquish any semblance or resemblance of control. And I see so much of soma in the way we live our lives, from our self-inflicted comas in the safety of our hives that reflect the mirror image of our thoughts upon our screens, with occasional divergence just to wash our conscience clean. And I see it in the streets and in the pubs of every town, in the basic meet and greets of staying in or going out, where the smart tech revolution is just dumbing people down and the art of conversation zoning out into a cloud. And I see it in the shops and in the cafes and the bars. It's in everything we do now and everything we are. But I wonder, at what cost? And just who'll pick up the bill for the dance of our distractions to the tune of our free will? But maybe I'm too cynical, or just difficult and strange, to say I'm not okay with just how instantly we've changed, but I'm worried that we're losing touch and all our other senses in this struggle for the conscious definition of our lives by deliberately choosing such a world of false pretenses as the binary refineries of computers and AI. Well, the gift of simply being is devalued and denied in the shift towards a future that increasingly depends on the need to find a balance between providence and pride, in the wisdom and the peace to know that always in the end we are left with our own conscience that will suffer for its sins, irrespective of our doctrines, and that happiness begins in forgiveness of the self and to the self before it's shared in the spectrum of existence that has always been impaired. But I remember being in Dublin on the Luas into town, where everybody else was somewhere else and looking down, except for one elderly lady at least 90 years of age, and I couldn't help but thinking that if all the world's a stage, that this would be the movie that denotes the modern world. And though we never said hello or even spoke one single word, as she wrapped her eyes around me, I could feel our souls collide, and the true meaning of connection as she looked at me and smiled. And she taught me of the crises that are crippling our times, of the scandals and the vices that are crafted and designed from the battle for resources to the myriad of crimes, that none could hold a candle to the war upon our minds. And yet, we can still find a place where consciousness can rise, from the ashes of the ether as a bird of paradise, to soars of the sun, and yet be guided by the moon, and to be present as a witness to the living in the room. And we can claim ourselves through sovereign will of the divine to protect us from the darkness and the dangers of our time, and to feed that sovereign self as light back out into the world as a seed that comes to spring and sprout and fight to be unfurled. And in that seed of hope and love, wherein the light is found, where the core of the great fire comes to spark the mortal flame, there's a duty to be nurtured and be sown in fertile ground, so that beauty we admire can be art in more than name. And on that path of spirit, where our souls must soar to fly, though we're laboured and entrenched within our battles just to be, from the day we come to birth until the moment that we die, we are blessed upon the earth with the desire to be free, to feel the life within the lake that catches rivers as they flow, and to know, for all we break, it's in the healing that we grow.